kind of my final question, and Dinesh, this is more about, on the right, sometimes we get people who dance on the line, and this is not an accusation I'm hurling against you, so be clear, that's not where I'm going, of being kind of a quote-unquote grifter, right? Somebody who is basically just like, how can I make money off of this movement? And you've written a lot of books. You and I were talking about like what you're doing right now with these documentaries, and I love really well done. It's not quite a documentary. It's more than that. I don't know if there's actually a name. It's a movie that kind of functions as a documentary as well. There's so much more that you've put into it than just going and asking somebody questions and throwing some B-roll footage behind you, right? I love those things. I love it when they're well done because they educate the audience. But how do you address people who say, okay, we're just going to buy another ticket to a movie, right? Is Dinesh really interested in this? Like, where's your heart behind this? Like, really tell us, like, what do you want to have happen? Why are you so focused on doing this? Not just with this movie, but with everything that you're doing.
I think that, just a word about the documentaries. Some people call my films a docudrama because I try to put in a nonfiction film all the ingredients that make a feature film great.
Right.
So there's suspense, there's a plot, storyline, there is a movement toward a climax, and you want to leave the audience with a sense of enlightenment, but also galvanized to action. So those are some of the elements in putting a film together. Now, what motivates me? Documentaries are a very hard genre, and they're very, very hard on the right. They're not so hard on the left. Here's what I mean. If Michael Moore wants to make a film, what does he do? He goes to a studio and he says, give me $10 million. And they go, here. He makes the film. And then the moment he's finished, his job is done. The studio says, all right, you're going to be on The View tomorrow. You're going to be on Stephen Colbert. Bill Maher has you on. We got this, we got that. So what I'm getting at is the only thing Michael Moore does is the film. Nothing else. Everything else is done for him. The whole infrastructure is there. On the right, lots of people are making documentaries and they find it's really hard. Why? Because you need some legal expertise and you need to raise money. Really hard to do.
Yeah. And
even if you're able to raise money, you then have to figure out, how do I make a good film? Really hard to do also because a lot of people on our side think films are just about messaging. And they're like, Dinesh, do some messaging. Make a film on the border, on Obamacare. And I'm like, how do I get people to get out of their home and get in a car, go to a theater to watch a film that's all messaging?
Yeah.
But once you make a good film, you then have to market it. So what happens is, and you have to be really good at all those things. Now, the business model I developed going back to my first film was I go to some investors, conservative investors who by and large are not used to funding films. They're used to funding elections. And I said, guys, if you give me some money, I will work really hard in the market to get it back to you so you can turn around and give it back to me to make my next film. In other words, I said, I'm going to call this recycled philanthropy. Yeah. I'd like to make some money for you, but that's not important to you or to me. Our goal is the cause, but I'm trying to create a I don't like being the guy who's hitting up people for donations all the time. So I want to create a mechanism in which I can produce a product in the market, then work really hard to return the investment to my investors in the full understanding that our job is to now
do it again.
So that's really what's driving me, and my complete focus is on saving the country because, you got to remember, I came here at the age of 17. My whole life has been shaped by America. I've written books like What's So Great About America. If you ask me today, is America a free country? I believe no, but I wouldn't want to say that. I would be embarrassed to say it.
Right.
So we are in this very awkward position. And those of us who are rah-rah American immigrants have some obligation, I think, to give back to the country that has given us so much. And that's what motivates me.
Yeah. No, that's good. I can see that. A lot of people that we talk to that didn't grow up here for some period of time and then came to America are just like, oh my gosh, like this is worth fighting for. This is worth keeping. It's going the way. And I know you interviewed, I always forget her name, but she grew up in North Korea.
Yeonmi Park.
Yes, right. And so she spots it very clearly. The refugees from Cuba, they spot it very clearly, saying, hey, this country is going the way of some of these other regimes, and you guys need to be a little bit more aware of what's going on.
If I can say one thing about Yeonmi is every time I see her, this is the thought that goes through my head. that there's for a country in a situation like we are now, there is a window of time. Yeonmi actually has a book called While Time Remains, which is, to me, a haunting title.
It is, yeah.
Because what she's saying is the time is not unlimited. Because if the jaws of the police state snap shut, then the only thing we can do is run, right? I mean, get out, get your family out, get your money out. Your options become much more limited. So if you ask me in one sentence why I made this movie, it's so we never get to that point, because we have the time to block, to thwart, even to roll back the police state. It's not going to be easy, but we can do it. And we have the obligation to do what we can while time remains.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I think it's very important. Go see Police State Film, October 23rd and 25th in theaters, policestatefilm.net to get your tickets. That's the only place to do it. If you can't get out into the theater, make sure you go to the virtual premiere on October 27th. It's going to be from Las Vegas with some Q&A from you and our friend Dan Bongino. Dinesh, thank you very much for all the work that you're doing on this. I really appreciate it. And for answering some of the questions. I want to make sure if anybody out there is asking the question, why is Dinesh doing this? Is it a messaging film or something like that? There really is a goal